Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble.
That costs money. Don't do that.
Oh shit, we're fucked.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to T3G. This is the Tangents Podcast, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do a alternate ending segment, and we're going to talk about a bunch of different movies, shows, all that kind of stuff, and how they could have ended better and how poorly they ended for various reasons. Today is myself. My name is Dalibor. This is Hottest, and this is Dan. This is our third guy for the day, perpetual third guy for the day. He's always around. And yeah, if you don't know what Tangents is, fucking figure it out.
Figure it out.
Figure it out. So yeah, we're gonna fucking shit topics. I forgot to change the topipics.
This feels like
amateur hour.
Amateur hour right here. Feels like amateur hour right here.
There we go. We're just gonna call it that. Boom.
Feels like amateur hour.
Easy
Right
clap. Easy clap.
Amateur hour.
As the internet calls it.
Hour.
So we're gonna talk about a couple different things. We're gonna start with signs.
No, we're not. We're gonna
okay.
We're gonna start with a movie you guys haven't watched, but I have. It's called High Tension. It's a horror flick. The whole movie. Okay, so you guys probably never watch it. You don't really like horror.
No.
I'm not sure if you'd care to watch it, to be honest.
I watch horror all the time. I just haven't watched that.
So it's like company, I don't know, like Europa or something, one of those companies from back there that made the movie. And at first it starts out, right, these two girls, I think they're supposed to be, if I remember correctly, lesbians. They're going to one of the girls' parents' farm. And they're, I think, coming from college, if I remember right.
Okay.
And so they're going there to basically, I think, for the break or something along those lines. They get there, they're having fun. You know, she's meeting the parents. They're all great and nice. And then one of the things, the way it starts off is like you see this essentially truck driver. He has this severed head that's given him head. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes, legit.
Okay.
That's how.
Is this Russian?
Right? And basically he approaches the house and starts murdering everybody. Only one of the girls. One of the girls ends up. She ends up hiding because she starts hearing. She hides, and then she runs for her life. But then, in the flip side, she ends up then trying to.
Kill the dude?
Kill the dude.
Of course.
Right?
That's weird, but sure.
But here's the funny thing.
Turns out it's her dad.
Turns out it's her.
Huh?
Yeah. Turns out it's her the entire time that's the serial killer, and it's her girlfriend trying to survive and kill her. It doesn't make any sense.
Fuck?
0 sense. Here's the thing. I'm all about twists. I love twists.
Sure.
But when the twists don't make no sense, like it makes 0 sense because there's nothing to at any point that you could convince me somehow this is how this all happened. Because what you showed was an alternate world to what happened. Not just like an alternate thing that was happening.
So this isn't like Fight Club where like...
Not at all. No, like it's really him.
Yeah.
No,
like,
absolutely. No. That's
what
they were going with.
That was their intent.
That was their intent.
But they
just missed that by 20 miles.
But even Fight Club has its holes.
Yeah, but I mean, at least Fight Club, like you watch and you're like, okay, but it still makes sense. No, this literally was miles away from making sense, anywhere near it. No joke. It's called High Tension. If you're out there listening,
dude. Speaking of horror, I think probably on my list of worst endings ever was a movie called Bones. This was 2002, 2001. This was
with Angelina Jolie?
No.
Oh, that's The Bone Collector.
That's Bone Collector.
That was actually a good movie.
Because that has Morgan Freeman too, right?
Bones was a horror movie, and it had Snoop Dogg in it.
Oh, geez.
And Snoop Dogg,
you know it's a great
Snoop
movie.
Dogg was the bad guy. I think he was maybe a vampire or something. It was. Here's the thing. Not a good movie.
Almost certainly not.
The Van Pizzle Diaries.
The Van Pizzle Diaries. I love it. I am trademarking that shit
The Van Pizzle Diaries. It was from that era of Snoop Dogg. But so he's playing the bad guy, and it's like, this young kid. He saves his girlfriend, blah blah blah. And then the movie, like, you think they won. You're like, all right, cool. Like, you get the happy ending. Like, they survived. Like a bunch of people died, of course, but like him and his girlfriend survived or whatever. And it literally ends with he turns to the camera and like bees and shit shoot out the kid's mouth. Like, oh, like they didn't beat him anyway. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, that's roll credits. I was like, the fuck just happened? Like, you played out this really like decent arc.
Right.
You know, they were trapped and then blah blah. He was gonna kill them and they beat him and then he'd leave the house and it's daytime. Bees out the fucking kid's mouth. I mean, and I was like, what the fuck just happened? Listen,
I'm actually more okay with that than I am what I watched because High Tension just literally like they tried and it was like, what the fuck? That doesn't even make sense. Like, it's literally Android versus Apple. Like, I'll give you a.
So like, I have a question about this. Like, who's the trucker then?
That's the her apparently.
So wait, was there never a trucker?
I don't know. That's how fucking stupid that whole twist is.
Now I feel like we need to watch this movie just for the sake of it.
Was there never the trucker and like
getting
that
head?
Was a whole irrelevant part? Or was she?
Because why show this trucker getting head from a severed head?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, why would you show that if that wasn't even a thing? Clearly.
Oh my god, that makes
sense. No, it was such a bad twist.
That reminds me of that Lewis Black joke where like you get aneurysms because you hear the dumbest shit ever.
100%.
And like it just rolls around in your brain until your brain
I watched this
explodes.
unfold and I just sat there because I was watching with my brother-in-law at the time and I'm like, is this what they're going with? This is. Like, I would have just been okay, like, he's just a crazy madman and she ends up beating his ass and wins. Like, I would have been fine with that. Mm-hmm. But they went with this twist that made zero sense. Like, but you never saw it coming. Yeah, I never saw it coming because it never made sense. Like, at any point, would you have thought this was a possibility?
Right.
Like,
well, that's like the end of, was it 13 Ghosts? I don't know if, I never saw the original. So 13 Ghosts, it was the movie... It was like the early days of CG, like really
it was
being
that
popular.
House, right?
Yeah, where they go in the house. And there was that scene where the dude gets cut in half with the door.
Yeah. Did they have
amazing.
to like wear something to see the ghosts or something like that? I forget
what it was.
I can't remember.
But like it ended with just this like, oh, and all the spirits go to heaven now, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but that still, I'm more okay with that.
No. I mean, like it was a quote unquote better ending,
right.
but it was still a bad ending where it was like. Well, this is a fucking dumbass ending. Like,
I
I would have been okay with, like, a couple of the heroes, like, surviving and moving on with their lives.
Right.
No, but it's like, they freed all the spirits, and, like, this is just, it's just such a fucking happy-go-lucky, like, it really ends on a completely different note.
It does.
Like, the whole movie is, like, kind of weird,
it does
and you're
end
uncomfortable.
on a completely different
and then it's
tone,
just, like,
sure.
literally, like, beams from the sky, and the ghosts are just walking into the light, and I'm like,
it did end on a completely different tone.
They do that in a couple of movies because there's a movie called Ghost Ship that was like pretty much the same way. Where
oh my god, Ghost Ship looked great because it was that chick from ER.
Yeah, and,
I watched that, but
the entire crew murders each other, and then there's the one innocent ghost, but at the end, like. They sink the ship, and you know, all of the spirits are, you know, like going up to heaven, and it's like there's a significant number of you that are going to hell.
Oh yeah,
like,
some of y'all are bad people. Like
some of y'all are fucking horrible. But yeah, no. So I never understood. I watched that, and until this day, I'm like, you could have literally just.
Like it keeps me up at night.
You could have literally just left it as she gets to win.
Yeah,
and I would have been way more okay with that. Then fucking you trying to play this twist that made zero sense to that.
That's the problem with
because like you said, then you think about like what the fuck was point of showing this dude getting head from a severed head?
Yeah,
like no reason whatsoever because it wouldn't have made any sense.
That makes no sense. Yeah, it's very
and
much.
The fact that it was a trucker and he rang the doorbell like
after she was already there.
After she was inside the house in the bedroom with her lover, like.
Yeah, I don't know.
None of it made sense.
Did they go to sleep and then that was her? Like,
no.
I don't know.
No.
I don't. Just.
It's like weirdness.
Yeah, you can't think about it for more than 12 seconds. Your brain's gonna explode.
No, it just.
But that's the curse of a lot of horror movies, right? Like. I don't even remember how Wrong Turn ended. I just remember that was like one of the few.
No, but that ended fine. That like it made sense when it ended. That was okay.
Did it though? I genuinely don't remember the ending.
Yeah.
I just remember that being like the one horror movie that genuinely scared me because it wasn't like some supernatural thing. It was just like motherfuckers who just won't die, and they just like fuck? Like, how do I kill these things?
Yeah, Wrong
like,
Turn ended fine. Hills Have Eyes ended fine. There was Hills Have Eyes 2.
I mean,
also.
there's always Texas Chainsaw, which is the fucking worst movie ever.
I mean,
granted, it's based on a real thing, but like,
right.
It's boring. It's a boring fucking story. And in the first one, by the way, if you're ever fucking running away from some motherfucker in the dead of night, just shut the fuck up and hide. That was my whole problem with the first one. This bitch is just running, and I'm like, shut up. It's blackout dark outside. You're in the middle of the woods. There is no source of light.
Right, but she's hoping that somebody that could help her.
Shut the fuck up and hide.
I don't know.
He cannot find you.
He finds everybody all the
I
time.
was like, what the fuck?
He has to walk while you run, and he'll still catch up. So
I'm saying.
That's not how.
You want to know why? Because she wouldn't shut up. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna catch up with this bitch. She's gonna run out of breath by the time I get there.
Like, skit on that from like Robot Chicken, where it's like Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And the chick's running through the woods.
Dude,
and
that's
she's
how every horror flick from back in the day is they're running and the dude is just walking and always catches up.
Yep.
And he's literally taking like 3 steps.
So like she catches sight of him and then she turns around, she starts sprinting the other way, and he's just standing there with his knife. And then
hasn't moved.
Yeah, and then of course he gets in front of her and kills her.
Yeah,
and then
course.
it's like 1 minute earlier, and it's like it shows him like get on a bicycle, and he's fucking like BMXing through the woods and shit.
That's the skit. That's a good skit. I believe
That's
that.
good.
That would make sense. Actually,
Yeah.
that would actually make
Just
a lot of
BMX
sense.
through the woods.
Yeah.
And so like he takes all these modes of transportation to get in front of her, and then he kills her.
Yeah,
like,
of course. That would make sense. Because that's how all horror movies are. At least back in the day where there was one like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Freddy, all those guys.
When you
It's
had
like,
a bad guy.
Yeah.
When like the movie
When
was
you had
about
the
a bad guy.
one bad guy.
Yeah, when the movie was about a
it
bad
was
guy.
like they're running for hours and
Right.
he just takes 3 steps and he's in front of them stabbing him somehow. So.
That's
well, with Freddy Krueger, it's all in
well,
dreams,
it's in the
so,
dream.
I mean,
Right,
that's,
right,
you know,
exactly.
yeah.
how a nightmare happens.
Right.
Which, you can obviously explain it with Freddy, but like Jason or Michael Myers, those you just really...
Jason's a well-traveled guy, man.
Yeah,
He's been
He's
hell,
been everywhere.
space, New York.
Yeah. He's fought Freddy.
He fought Freddy. It's true. So he was in the dream,
Which was also a shit ending because it was like, oh, it's a draw.
Yeah.
That was
like,
a shit ending.
nobody.
By the way, let me tell you
that
something.
that was literally a throw at the fans that wanted to just watch that.
never watched the whole movie. I remember. This is like the most embarrassing thing I want to share. I put the disc in. I worked at Blockbuster, so I rented this. I put the disc in, and it's like, it's got all, when they used to like put effort into menus, and it had like a bunch of different stuff, and it said something about Jason's machete, right? It's like Machete Files or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what's Mac Heath Files? I was like, what's a Mac Heath?
Your command of the English language.
I was just like, and then somebody said, what the fuck are you saying?
What the fuck are you saying?
They were like, machete. I was like, oh.
Mac Heat.
Yeah, I was like, what's a Mac Heat? I was like...
yeah, but no, literally, the Freddy versus Jason was literally just, here's to the fans that wanted this.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, the ending is that Jason's walking out of Crystal Lake, and he's got Freddy's head in his hand, and then Freddy's head winks at you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Maybe I did watch it then. Yeah, I do remember that.
And it's
but like, how is he have Freddy? Freddy's a fictional character.
So is he.
Fool. I mean, like in that universe, he's up here.
No, he's not up.
He doesn't have a physical form.
He doesn't have a physical form, but he still haunts you.
Right, so how is Jason coming out of the lake holding his head?
Well,
he's in the dream.
That's the entire
the joke.
The premise of the Nightmare on Elm Street is when the main character fights him in the final battle, she goes into a dream state, grabs him, and wakes up, and she pulls him into our world.
No shit.
Yeah.
I tried watching the first one, dude. It is so hard to watch 80s movies now. No, like I was like, I'm gonna watch the whole
movie, man.
Sure. There's exceptions, but I was like, I'm gonna watch like all of the fucking Nightmare movies. I put on the first one and I was like, holy shit, this is bad. I'm like, I can't.
See, like, I can still watch though.
The dialogue is terrible.
You want to see a bad Freddy Krueger movie? Freddy Krueger 2. Like Freddy's Revenge or Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Like
Freddy's Revenge was the one that came out in like the 90s.
I actually liked the more newer one that they did, where it was like, I forgot who took it on. I want to say it was it Rob Zombie?
No.
Zombie did Halloween.
He did Halloween.
I know he did Halloween. I feel like somebody...
They wanted him to do...
Freddy
they wanted him
to
do
that would fuck shit up. Yeah.
Dude, House of a Thousand Corpses, fucked up movie, but it's a great movie. And then you have the sequel to it, which I forgot what it was, but it was literally all the fucked up characters out of the first one. It was like... Fuck, I forgot what
The Devil's Rejects.
The Devil's Rejects. And then he made a third one. Then he brought him back.
Just recently he made the third one.
I think so, yeah. Within a year or so.
So speaking of horror movies, we're going to get into our topics here. Signs was... so I always felt like M. Night Shyamalan's kind of got this... He's got a horror bend to all his stuff. It's not outright horror, but it's always got a psychological thriller kind of
thriller.
Feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Signs was a movie where when I started watching it, I was kind of... So I had watched... what was the first one?
Fucking Sixth Sense?
Sixth Sense. I'd watched Sixth Sense and I never got it. Never got it until I watched the special features. Literally. Did not get it. I was like, oh, okay, it was a flashback. That was my whole thing.
We're not related.
No, I did not get it. No. I was like, it was a flash. My whole thought was that because it repeats the scene from the beginning where he got killed. My whole thought was that the whole story was a flashback, and basically the dude that kills him was that kid grown up, and like, you never could help me. Like, I'm still seeing dead people. I'm fucking kill you because you never helped me. That was my whole thought process. So when I'm watching it and they're like, oh, there's all these signs and there's the red door handles and I was like, he was dead? What the fuck?
Are you that guy that when he did you watch Lost?
No. Oh. Never saw it. But anyway, so like I
was gonna say, are you that guy that
when I went into
No, I'm worried. I really want you to watch Lost and tell me what you
But think. I hear it's a shit end.
No, it's not. It actually, to people that didn't understand the ending.
I see.
It's a shit end.
I see.
Yeah.
No, so I go into Signs and I was kind of expecting something weird. So like I knew it was gonna be. So like then like the wife dies and you're like, oh man, this is kind of fucked up. But then she like does that speech and I was like, this bitch is fucking dumb. I was just like, this is a dumb like. She's like the inspiration of the family thing. Like, I just didn't like that whole, like, her, tell Casey this and tell, blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
what movie are you talking about?
Signs.
Signs?
When the wife dies. The whole thing at the end is because she, like, predicts the ending.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was, like, about him finding his faith again or whatever. It was fucking dumb. But it was...
I don't know.
I was expecting something weird. Genuine, probably the best jump scare I've ever had because it was honest. I wasn't expecting fucking aliens, and then when they're watching that video,
and it's walking,
and it was like, I was like, oh shit! Like,
well, yeah, because they kept going back and forth, and it's like, what is he seeing? And then it shows you, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, I was like, damn. So like,
it fucks with you.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. But then like, towards the ending, when it was like, oh, you saw them in like when they were in the house, and they look fucking like weak, and you're like, all right. And then it was like, he remembers the whole fucking thing with the wife, and I was like. She predicted.
I was actually perfectly okay with it.
I just didn't like. It was just like it leaned too heavily into this whole spirituality thing in the movie, and I just didn't like it.
Only part of that I remember was like tell Casey to swing away or something like that.
She basically told him everything he needed to win that fight. Mm. The whole water thing. She like explained everything at the beginning, and I was just like. Man,
I thought that
because the whole thing was about he lost his faith in God because she died.
I get it.
Because he was a preacher.
But at the end of the day, I still am 100% okay with that because it puts you in a different Like
Sure.
it gives you that like.
I think
oh,
that was
shit,
kind of a
that's
head
cool.
fake. You know,
I wasn't a big fan of that. And I was like, and plus what you said, right? They're aliens and they're trying to invade a planet that's made 70% water, and they're fucking vulnerable to water.
Yeah.
Like, feels like a bad pick.
Well, I mean,
unless we really had something like another mineral that is just like unique to planet Earth that just like you cannot get anywhere else, and they're like, we gotta fucking take the risk, guys.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I won't disagree. That bothers me more than like her seeing what needs to be done. I'm perfectly fine with that.
But then, did you like Village?
Yeah,
I love the Village.
Yeah.
I gotta say, at the time, I saw the end coming.
You're full of shit.
Well, I know, because I went into it knowing that M. Night Shyamalan always has a twist.
Right, but like,
and
when did you pick up that there wasn't an actual creature?
I've read, like, okay, I was in college, I was taking the English class,
right.
And in the English class, we read a story that was very similar, where they used a, fear of a creature to control the populace. Basically.
I see.
And so I was like, and I put it together.
I see what you're saying. I just really like that idea because I've said for many years that like I would be very interested to see what a child raised in space with no knowledge of gravity would do. I have a low key belief that like you could outthink gravity. I think if you don't believe that it exists, if you have no information on its presence,
it doesn't. That's
it's a mind over matter idea.
Pretty sure there's a lot of flat people.
No, it's not. It's like when it's not mind over matter because it's like they demonstrated. You take a feather and you take a bowling ball.
No. I know it happens.
No,
I don't believe that gravity doesn't exist. I think,
but you can't mind over matter something that clearly is capable of doing that.
But you throw inanimate things that have no opinion. And we're taught, we are taught from a very early age about gravity, about don't fall down. Shit hurts when you fall down. Like, I think, my belief is that if you were to raise a child 100% without the concept of gravity.
No, we've heard you say it the first time.
Floating, like, and saying that you just naturally float.
No. It's going to be a sad day for that child. It's going to be a very...
Motherfucker's going to get to Earth like, what is this bullshit?
They're going to be on a building and they're going to be like, no, I float. Boom! Straight out. Like, what?
I know why they'd be on a building right out the gate. Like, I feel like that's a test you don't want to run that high up. I feel like maybe
why not?
Off a curve.
No, they don't have a concept of gravity. No, they don't have a concept of gravity. Why not?
But that's what I'm saying.
If better yet, just jump out of the ship.
I tried the curve like 5 times. Okay, now I'm going to try the tree. And it's like, okay, I broke my arm.
But that's what I'm saying.
But they have no concept of gravity.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
nothing to try
out.
But
right, I get that you don't believe that. But what I'm saying is, I believe that it's possible.
I disagree with you.
Okay, 100%. And you can disagree with me.
All right.
But no one would ever let me do it. So there's no way to prove it.
There is a way to prove it because science shows every time that is a wrong statement.
But
a feather still falls even though it floats.
Because it has no opinion on matter.
It doesn't matter though.
My belief is that you can mind over matter this thing.
I understand what you're saying. I disagree with you.
That's fine. You can disagree with me, but again, neither of us can prove our position.
Except the science.
Again, science doesn't prove this because science would never allow someone to take a child, like, and raise a child in space.
So if something doesn't have an opinion,
because you got to remember, a child floats in the womb, and if you were to raise it in space where it floats, and never teach it about gravity, and just tell it that floating is a thing.
No, I know what you're saying.
That's my belief, is that when it would, if it chooses to land, it would just float.
I don't think you can mine over matter.
But like I said, you can't. Gravity. You cannot prove that, just like I can't prove my position. It is like the ultimate. It's a Schrodinger's cat, but because we can't prove it until someone does it, but no one would ever let you do it.
Sure.
Speaking of endings that were lackluster.
Just swinging back. He's like, I am done with this.
I genuinely believe I can't die. Go ahead and shoot me. Let's find out if...
Nah, but you don't. because you're fully aware of it.
All right. Either way.
I believe I'm Superman.
In Chapter 2, spoiler alert.
No, you don't spoil shit. You don't even talk, sir.
I haven't seen it.
No, we're not going to do that one.
No,
I haven't seen it.
No. I have to go watch it.
Oh,
I haven't seen one or
You
two.
can't talk about it. I gotta go watch it. Actually, matter of fact, I most likely won't get a chance to watch it in the theater, so I'll have to wait till it's DVD out.
God damn it!
Yeah.
Listen. Let's
You're gonna have to wait on that one.
Let's continue. Let's continue down our list here. Sliders. Now I don't know if you did you watch Sliders?
Not in its entirety.
Me neither. I never finished. Shit. I think I
right
got
about
to
the time
last
when
season.
John RhysDavies, did he die or did he just?
No,
choose
the
to
professor
not go
didn't.
on?
The professor didn't die. I don't think. I actually don't remember what happened to him.
It was either the
specifically, but
last season I stopped at or second last. I can't remember.
The last season is what I want to talk about. I want to I look at the last season as the entire ending, as like this is the entire bad ending. You had fucking what the fuck's the dude's name? Kangaroo Jet Kid. The fuck is his name?
You can't remember your
I
actor's
can't remember
name?
his fucking name. Sliders, actors. Jerry O'Connell. Jerry O'Connell decides, I'm going to be a movie star. And he takes this 4 years worth of story that's been built up. And because Jerry leaves, the other fucking guy, the one who played the brother.
Charlie O'Connell?
No, it wasn't. No, it was Robert Floyd. No, his brother wasn't on there. His actual brother wasn't on there.
It says it right there that it was. Charlie
Oh,
O'Connell.
no, I'm crazy. No, yeah, it was. Yeah. Yeah, so his brother also leaves. He didn't do shit. I haven't seen him in anything since. So, but yeah, Jerry Connell's like, I'm going to go fucking be a movie star. And he ends up in Kangaroo Jack and I think Joe's Closet.
Which both ultimately failed and he didn't do shit.
100%. Yeah, that's why like even more so it pisses me off. So they both leave, which they had built up this whole thing about them being brothers in the show, and like they had just met each other in season 3. So they go through season 4. They go into season.
What's the last season? 5, right?
5.
So I literally started 3 and stopped.
It's a good show. I fucking love that show.
It's not.
And that the last season is so frustrating because they were gonna do the show anyway, and these guys leave basically at the beginning of production. So they open the season with them like running away from the camera, like some 2 dudes that kind of look like them, but like not really at all. So you just see literally the back of their heads. They jump into the portal, and due to the experiment happening on the planet they were going to, they merge into one person with another person from that world. So now you have the new dude, which
was Robert Floyd.
No.
According to that, it was.
Oh, it was because it's that's why they named him Mallory, because he was all 3. He was the quote unquote Quinn Mallory of that world, but now he was all 3 of them, and it was fucking dumb. The whole thing was dumb because then you also had, I think Rembrandt was the only one that stayed at the end, and then Wade shows up. She was like a prisoner, and then she kind of shows up at the end to just like, oh, by the way, she used to be on the show. Like,
by the way, she used to be here.
For real. And then Maggie was like the new girl.
That's right, because she just disappears, doesn't she?
I think
she was
Wade chooses
Wade,
to stay behind.
Yeah, Wade decided to stay somewhere.
Yeah.
And then, so let's see, where was it?
I just couldn't watch it.
Wade, yeah, she stopped in season 3, and then she just literally just shows up in season 5 for like 1 episode.
Brown was the only one that stayed the whole time, didn't he?
Yeah. Rembrandt was the only one that was there the whole time. RhysDavies also left at the end of season 3. It was just so fucking dumb. It ruined everything because the whole premise got fucked up because you had basically most of the cast got recasted,
right?
And then you just had this one dude who now was the plots got all fucking dumb. It's seriously, it was like, oh, Charlie O'Connell's leaving? Well, like half the writer's room's gonna leave too. Like, you know, you had like one dude left who had the weird ideas. Like,
well, yeah, man.
Now's my chance to shine.
What are you gonna do? You have 2 options. You either finish the series,
or
just stop.
But like 4 ended.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like 4, the last episode of 4 was the last step. Like you could have just called it. You really could have just called it.
Well, there were a lot of shows that just ended in the 90s. I mean, like, there was Space Above and Beyond. Like, that ended on a cliffhanger. There was, I forget, did Babylon 5 have, like, a...
This 4 was a long-ass season, too. Yeah, they meet their birth parents. They're like, you find out a bunch of shit, and then it's like... They like continue off on their adventure, but like we'll be back, Mom and Dad. And it's like you could have just called it, but they were like, no, we gotta squeeze the fucking titty some more until she bleeds out. Like, I was just mad.
You might have to cut that part.
No, not at all. I always talk about no. I always talk about like the Fast and Furious franchise. They're gonna milk that cow till she bleeds.
No,
100%.
No.
No? You don't think they're going to make more offshoot movies after 10?
I mean, offshoot, yeah.
So they're going to milk that cow until she bleeds dry.
Not Fast and the Furious. Not Vin Diesel. Not...
You're going to tell me that Hobbs and Shaw 3 isn't going to be in the Fast franchise?
It is.
Well,
but it won't be Fast and the Furious. It won't be Vin Diesel.
Sure.
It won't be
I'm not talking about the actors. I'm talking about that franchise. They're going to milk that franchise.
Fast and Furious Presents.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
So it'll say Fast and Furious on the title is my point.
I mean, sure, yeah.
So I'm just saying, like that's the kind of thing that it bothers me when it turns sour like this. Like with this, you could have called it at season 4 and just fucking moved on with your life. I'm trying to think if there's any other shows where like Heroes. Heroes felt like it ended shitty, but then when they did Heroes Reborn, it was just put together shitty. Like
it didn't end shitty. It just ended like. Figure it out.
No, it ended with her going live on TV, basically.
Right.
And I was like, can we fucking explore now? Like, now that they're out?
Well, right, you want to explore, but they could have ended it there.
I mean, we're out. I don't know. It wasn't a good ending for my taste, but, like, it felt incomplete. It felt like
of course it felt
we spent, 2 seasons, 3 seasons, whatever it was, doing this in the shadows and quietly.
Of course, it goes back into these fuckers creating stories and not having a proper ending ready.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
My problem with Heroes was that there was never a lot of payoff. Like there was always like. Who was the guy that could hear other people's thoughts? Matt. Parkman. I think it was.
Bro, I'm blanking. I'm blanking for real.
But like he's like, oh well, I'm not going to use my power because I think it's cheating, and it's like, look, the interesting parts of the story are that like he's going to use his power for good or he's going to use it for evil. Right. And so. Like,
oh, you're talking about Matt Parkman. You're talking about the dude who was on Alias.
Yeah,
fucking J.J. Abrams, like best friend.
Yeah, and they were all like, oh well, I like it's cheating if I know what.
Oh yeah. No, I already know. Yes. I know. You don't have to look at it.
J.J. Abrams' best friend. That's why he ended up on the show.
It's one of his best friends.
Either way,
he has very lot of best friends.
Well, he ends up in all the J.J. Abrams stuff.
It's a lot of like these people trying
Tudyk ends up in a lot of them too.
That's true.
Yeah.
Trying to live normal lives, and it's like, look, your life isn't normal anymore. Like you can walk through walls, you can like fucking turn invisible at will, or and it's like, okay, so like now you have these abilities, and it was the one kid with like Forge's abilities that was like, yeah, now we can be a team, and we'd be superheroes, and
he kind of like, and like in Reborn they try to like capitalize on that. The kid,
I didn't watch
Micah.
Micah, yeah.
I didn't watch Reborn.
But like the young kid, Micah, he was on the old show. He was just really young then. He was the black dude's kid, like he was the little dude. Yeah. So he was, the little kid. He could like talk to fucking machines and shit. And then he in Reborn was like the fucking ultra hacktivist dude. Like he was hacking shit. Remember he like used to like he would pull fucking money out for his dad.
Who was his dad?
What was his dad's name? Mike Sanders, who was D.L. Hawkins.
Angel.
Yeah, the dude from Angel. But yeah, he was. What was his power? Was it just strength? Phasing. No, he could phase. But yeah, like they capitalized on that. He was really amped to like make them a team and be good guys. Mm-hmm. And then like you said, there was really no payoff to any of that. When they got into Reborn, it was like, oh, these guys are like out and around. And then there was this like cataclysmic event, which by the way, I don't know if they stole because I don't remember what time like when it like all lined up. I don't remember if Gifted stole the plot from that or vice versa because it's literally the same plot. Like a fucking major crazy event that causes a lot of fun. Like literally, you could watch Heroes Reborn and then watch Gifted and be like, that was the thing that happened. like because Gifted always talks about like the events of July whatever.
Right.
Like, and that's the thing that happens in Heroes. Like it was, I don't know. It was silly. It was silly. Like there could have been more to it. It just like it felt like we got this gap of. There was a period of time when people knew that these people, these superpowered people were out, but then nothing happened until something bad happened, and then there were more rules and more laws and shit like that, and like now they were like criminals. They just, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of.
So it was the X-Men on Heroes.
It was 100%. I mean, Heroes was X-Men. Like, there's just no question about that to me.
Right.
Heroes was X-Men. I mean, like the whole hero arc from the first season is Days of Future Past.
Right.
Something fucking terrible happens in the future. Right. I'm gonna fucking fix it. Like,
yeah, no, I'm just, I don't know what else, what other movies I can think of that had like.
We have Firefly and Desert Punk on the screen, but that's more of
Firefly for me is just like they dropped the ball. Like there was so much story there.
Which goes back to what you said. Like, there's just no ending figured out.
Right, 100%.
And then on top of that, like Fox was really fucking with them.
Fox is a bunch of idiots. Thank God they got bought out. Hopefully now they'll be smarter. So
I'm saying, man, can you imagine like a return of Almost Human? That'd be cool.
Almost certainly won't happen.
I mean, of course, no. They dropped like, dude, they went from like 260 things in production and like various stages of production.
Yeah,
to like 12.
Because Fox a bunch of idiots. They're like, okay, we're going to test this while we're creating this, because just in case we're not getting the numbers we want with this, we'll toss this bitch in there and see if we get the numbers. Because they're idiots. They're morons. Instead of focusing on one thing and making it great and making it grow, and they focus on 5,000 and figuring out which one actually is going to make them their money. It's stupid. It's idiotic. And
100%.
Like, Almost Human guaranteed would have made them a shit ton of money if they kept that bitch going.
Oh, yeah.
But the same thing with Firefly. Are you kidding me? Firefly could have easily gone 5 seasons.
Was Serenity a Fox production? Was Serenity like...
I believe it.
I mean, I'm assuming it was because it is their property, so...
Do they legit own it, though?
Wrong Serenity.
Nope. Not 20...
2005, it's right there. God damn it.
2005, 2005, man, I didn't realize it was that long ago. Where is the production studio? September. Details.
Universal Pictures.
So no, not Fox. Because Universal's has nothing to do with Fox.
What about in 2005 though?
Yeah, did Universal have something to do with Fox in 2005? Did Fox say, hey, Universal, can you release this movie for us? Like...
Let's see. Oh, that's the actual ship.
Yes.
Wikipedia. Let's look at the Wikipedia for the movie. Distributed by Universal Pictures. Who's the production studio, though? Continuation of the Fox series.
Yeah, it says distributed. So was it on Joss Whedon's money?
It might have been. Budget $39 million, box office.
I mean, he had $39 million in the bank, right?
That's a shame. How do you feel about a relaunch of that, though?
I've yet to hear anything about that outside of you.
Let's see. Let's see if there's any.
Are they going to recast it or?
Yeah, they were talking about relaunching entirely.
Nothing that I've heard, my friend.
Well, there's a sequel. Hold on, let's go back to Firefly because Firefly's the thing that's being continued, not Serenity. Yeah, they might put out comics and stuff, but let's see. Jesus Christ.
Well, because they've continued the story through comics, but
cult status.
Also, as well, almost any fan of the original show wouldn't even accept anything but the original crew to be back.
Yeah,
I disagree.
I disagree with you, my friend. You know how many people bothered Nathan Fillion to bring that show back, and he's like, there will be no more Firefly guys.
Right, because he can't make it happen. It's not his show.
Right, but that's not what he's saying. He's saying as in there shouldn't be more of that show. He's saying there shouldn't come back. There shouldn't be any more. It's done. But like I said, you are the only one that I've heard talk about that. I've yet to hear anything about that.
I don't know. It looks like there was a lot of rumors. Nothing recent though. So yeah, maybe it's dead in the water. Maybe, I mean, it's possible. Maybe it was a response from the fans being like, unless you can get the original crew back, we don't give a shit. Well, you also couldn't because the one dude's dead. Tudyk is dead.
Well, yeah. I mean, it would be the crew without him. So, but yeah, it didn't matter really. My problem with it was that there was just so much to her story to figure her out, and obviously, I mean, it was basically Space Cowboy Bebop in fucking.
Oh, speaking of which, they're doing a live action.
Yeah. Yep, they cast it. It looks pretty good.
Everything's going.
Yeah, they already started. Looks pretty good. I'm glad that it was a short series, because now I can actually watch that. Well, I was telling Hannes, I thought it was a 5-season fucking thing.
No,
I think
one season, 26 episodes.
Yeah, it was a really good story.
Super good, yeah. I mean, like I said, if they really wanted to, they could easily 100% dwell a little deeper into Vicious and Spike's story and Valentine's story. Little stretch that to make it a little longer series if they wanted to, but it's not necessary. I mean, if they're doing a mini-series, as they've already said, I'm assuming they're just going to work on the basics of the series and pretty much be done with that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they release in 2 to 3 seasons and each season's 10 episodes type of deal.
Right.
So, because I mean, like I said, there's 26 episodes of the show. Now, if they're only doing 10 episodes of the show in live action, then I'm assuming they're going to most likely not focus a lot on them bounty hunting, and they're going to more focus just on Spike's story or something like that. If they're going to do that.
Fair.
Because, I mean, there's 26 episodes and they're doing only 10. The reason there's 26 episodes because each one of those episodes have them bounty hunting and there's a good story in the episode.
Well, yeah, so they could be going from
Spike's story is maybe 3 episodes long. Valentine's story is maybe 2 episodes long. Jet doesn't really have a story. He's just kind of there. He's a cool guy.
He's got a story. I think they could explore Jet more.
They could, but I mean, he doesn't have. I don't think he has a story like Spike or Valentine have.
Well, I mean, Spike probably of all of them has the most interesting story.
100%. I don't mind Faye's story. Faye's story is interesting too.
Well, it's not like I'm like, oh my god, Faye, fucking yeah, but I don't.
But I mean, yeah. Okay. I mean, between Spike and Vicious and the lover, I always forget her name.
Veronica, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And then, so, like Faye's story is that like she woke up, she can't remember anything, and she like makes herself into this badass, bounty hunter.
Right.
And then when she remembers everything, those two personalities collide.
For a quick second, they didn't really stick on that.
Yeah, and that's what I would like to see. Like, what was the outcome of that? Was she something in between, or
right? I mean, like I said,
so
they could focus on
what's your prediction then? Do you think they're gonna go with like a?
I mean, if they're saying miniseries as in like 1 season, 10 episodes miniseries, then they're gonna focus on Spike almost certainly.
Well, you said if it's 3 episodes for Spike's story, like, I guess my question is, do you think because we're presuming they're hour-long episodes, not 30.
I'm assuming
so 26 turns into 13 hour-long episodes.
Well, okay, true.
So then we're way closer. So then if you take out half the bounty hunting, let's say. Because let's say there's there's 3 cases throughout these 10 episodes, 3 actual bounty hunting cases that can go across episodes.
Right.
Do you think they're gonna be able to That's what my thought is. Like, I mean, again, I have no context.
I mean, they could. Yeah, I mean, they could focus at least on Faye's story and Spike's story throughout this miniseries if it is only 10 episodes. Like I said, Spike's story isn't in detail in the show. Like, you have some information.
Right.
Literally, 1 episode explains a decent chunk of it. And then the last episode is essentially him going after Vicious. And there, I feel like there's maybe a half an episode where he talks about Veronica or something like that. Or I can't remember exactly.
So that sounds like it would maybe be resolved within a couple episodes.
I mean, depending how they do it, it's
very
possible. Yeah,
of course.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, they could fuck it up.
It all depends on what you think a miniseries is. Because at the same time, technically, Agent Carter was a miniseries, but that lasted 3 seasons, and each season was, or 2 seasons, and each season was what?
8 episodes.
Was it 8?
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. So this could be 2 or 3 seasons, and it could be 10 episodes
possible.
a season. So it just depends on how they go. I mean, granted, could they stretch it? Of course they could stretch it. They could just do shit. In my opinion, you can probably do fucking Cowboy Bebop forever, a mini series. Like, it's always 8 to 10 episodes because you could just good individual stories about bounty hunting. You literally could.
So it's
like 2 of the episodes in the series
it could be Dog the Bounty Hunter in space.
Essentially, yeah. Yeah. I mean, just, more fun.
Well, no, yeah, and I think we are missing that kind of from TV and from media in general. Where like you have like iZombie. I know that's coming to an end, but like that ran 7 seasons.
No. 5.
So 5's been 5 years worth of like zombies.
Yeah,
but fun. Yeah, like a fun.
Yeah, because she was always doing detective work while there was
exactly.
A story.
It was a thing that already exists, right? A detective formulaic TV, bad guy of the week series.
Yeah.
But also this different subplot.
Right.
Like for me, I on a practical level don't understand how Law and Order's still on. It's just the same thing every week.
Yeah.
Like, there isn't a different subplot or a unique.
Well, that's why I don't understand.
You just like the characters.
Well, to me, I'm the same way about NCIS. NCIS.
No, and I agree.
Keeps going, but I'm like, at what point do you just stop running out of fucking story?
But here's the thing. To me, it's very much both of those. I think rely heavily on the love for the characters. They lucked out. They lucked out early on and built really strong characters.
100%.
And but you also have to remember both of those shows skew heavily towards an older audience,
right?
Towards people who did spend time in the military, people who did spend time in law enforcement.
Of course.
So I could see why they keeping it formulaic and doing the same thing.
Of course,
makes sense to them.
I mean,
but also for me, I Gibbs is a great character. Abby left, so on NCIS, Abby's gone. A lot of people are gone on NCIS, but like they said Ziva was back, and I was like, shit, now I need to fucking catch up.
Denozo and Ziva are back for
the Denozo?
Both for the season.
Damn it!
From what I understand, few episodes.
I thought
well, if she's back, he's got to be back.
Well, she's not back. He's back. She's technically dead. So she's back maybe in...
No, I saw a trailer.
That's fine that you saw a trailer.
She walks
but those might be...
She's not... First of all, she's not technically dead. She's in hiding. She's officially dead.
Right.
She's on paper, like legally, she's dead.
Okay.
But like, I don't like. There was definitely not like there was no body, is what I'm saying.
I mean, just because there was no body doesn't mean shit. Sure, you could
sure
it up like, there was no body. Let's fucking milk this cow. Yeah, obviously.
Well, she wanted to leave. That's why she. So she was never in the last episode. She was never in the episode where she died.
I know.
So like, maybe she wanted to show back up. You know, maybe she needs a few dollars.
Yeah,
she needs a few dollars.
Yeah,
you know?
She probably does because she realized she couldn't do anything outside. I mean, I'm not saying that it's a horrible thing to say, but Denozo too is back.
But he's got a show.
That's still running.
That's successful. I mean, that's a fairly good show.
Yeah. All I know is he left because he was like, I want to direct, and then he made a new show where he's the star. I was like,
He is also a producer on it. I don't know if he's directed any of the episodes, but
I don't know. It was kind of funny for me. They're like, oh, he's leaving because he wants to direct, and I was like, oh, okay, I understand that. Like, he wants to flex his muscles.
Yeah,
and then it was like, oh, he's got a new show where he's the main dude. I was like, oh, that's not okay.
Yeah,
sure.
so
right.
He writes and directs and
it sounds like you're not doing what you said you were going to do.
I mean, it's very possible they promised him directorial rights once a few, maybe a season was through or something.
Right, man, it's quite possible. Yeah, maybe. I mean, because I think the show is on CBS or NBC.
I mean, it's one of those.
Yeah, it's one of the two. But what I'm saying is, maybe they were like, if you do X seasons of this for us, we'll give you a show to direct.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's that fucking Hollywood bullshit, man. That's that Hollywood bullshit.
Hollywood bullshit.
You know what I'm saying? Like we've talked about this on many occasions where so there's a guy, Freddy Wong. Do you know Rocket Jump? Did you ever watch Video Game High School?
Yeah.
Big fan of that show. Like I actually really enjoyed everything about it. He was on this podcast. He was on the fuck is their name? I keep forgetting their damn name. The guys who make the CG shit. Anyway,
just want to see how it felt durably.
Those are the ones I have. There's not green.
I got you.
Anyway, fuck, I can't remember that. Anyway, they're the guys who make all the CG shit. Like they do fancy CG things. He was on their podcast, and I was telling you, like, he said, like, if we had stuck to doing those, like, B-rated horror movies, like, straight to disc, straight to VHS, straight to DVD kind of things, we'd be way further along in Hollywood. Because they're like, he's like, yeah, he's like, you have all this, like, YouTube experience and credit and blah, blah, blah. He's like, but in Hollywood, it doesn't fucking matter. They'll look at you like, who fucking cares? And I'm like, first of all, if that's even half of true, which I know it is, fuck Hollywood. Fuck Hollywood hard. Because you can't tell me that this guy who's produced multiple TV series at this point, fully, like, well done, well executed, good graphics, and some great graphics, that's not credited? Like, you can't tell me that's not, like, good enough? Fuck you. That's why I was like, make your own fucking Hollywood. Fuck that. Like, put together the money, crowdfund that shit. Fuck Hollywood, man. I'm just the more I hear about the kind of back end dumb bullshit. I mean, like a statement like that from somebody who is as successful as he is blows my fucking mind. Like where he's kind of like where he's almost sounding remorseful for having the amount of success that he does because he doesn't have it in Hollywood. Like that just shows like how much like power that still has. Like Freddy Wong is not hungry. He's doing all right. You know what I mean? Like they have a film school. Like people pay them money to learn how to make film. Like
yeah, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, Hollywood is Hollywood. It's going to be always the way it is, which is basically high school drama with older people. So
it's true.
Yeah.
True.
It's always. I mean, it's always going to be like that. It's never going to change. The people that hold power will always play child games, and they're going to do some sketchy ass shit, and they'll disregard anybody who's not at their level. So Like, Robert Downey Jr. might have a shit ton of money, but the motherfucker that pays him, he has more money. And at the end of the day, Robert Downey Jr. does what that motherfucker says, not what Robert Downey Jr. says.
Right.
So, like, Robert Downey Jr. wants to make a movie, they're going to be like, first you're going to make 3 of these, and then we'll think about that movie.
Right.
Like, it's just how it is. It's always been like that in Hollywood, and it always will be. The rich run, the wealthy run that shit. And it'll continue to run that way, unfortunately. You can call out, we have social media and stuff like that, and you can call out with these sexual harassments, and 1 or 2 of them might get nicked. But, like, at the end of the day, there's still a lot of that wealthy that's still there playing those dumbass games instead of actually listening to the people that fucking... The only way it'll stop is if you don't give them money anymore.
Right.
But that'll never happen because that's trying to convince the world,
millions of people,
to do what they should do,
right,
instead of what they are doing. So yeah, at the end of the day, like, Hollywood might not regard anything done on YouTube as successful or worth it, but at the end of the day, you don't have to rely on Hollywood. You can still make your own shit.
That's my thing, man. I would say crowdfund your shit.
Don't get me wrong. You're not on TV. You're not on the big screen.
It's like Steven Spielberg saying that Netflix movies shouldn't be eligible for Oscars.
Fuck Steven Spielberg.
They were, made in Hollywood, and it was like, but I mean,
they meet the
production
requirements.
Value of
and they also meet the requirements. They put, like, when that Idris Elba movie when it was nominated. I think that's when this happened. Mm-hmm. They put it out in theaters. It was on the amount of screens minimum required to be considered for the awards. That's it. They put it in theaters. They showed it on the number of screens for the number of time required.
Sure.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a shit. That's what I'm saying. Like, crowdfund your film.
Bro,
when it's done, be like, here is our movie. We'd like to get it in theaters. Here is how much we're going to need for that.
I've watched better production on Netflix than I've ever watched on any TV series on regular TV, and supposedly, according to Hollywood,
I'm not going to say there's that all of them are,
what on TV right now?
Agent Season 6.
Great. It took them 6 seasons. Let me rephrase that. What series that's recently started looks as good as an Umbrella Academy right now? Umbrella Academy has 1 season, but that bitch fire. Now, one point during that motherfucker you were watching, you're like, those visuals could be better.
As far as production
that
quality,
acting could be better.
No, as far as
that story writing could be better. No, not at one point were you watching that thinking that.
On TV right now, I mean, I guess I can't say Lucifer because Lucifer is no longer on TV. It's on Netflix. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, what's something that had, like, that kind of production quality, like, level. Like, even something that was similar.
Like, the only thing...
Gotham was pretty good. I mean, like, yeah, the Arrowverse shows.
Yeah, but they're visually, in my opinion, they're not as good as...
Walking Dead is the only thing that comes to mind that is... Like,
I'll say this, Into the Badlands.
Okay,
Into the Badlands was a great, but like that's AMC, FX or not FX. That's AMC,
and they throw money into.
And they throw money just like Netflix, but like.
But you don't think the Arrowverse shows are as good as
visually? No, absolutely not. There's how even till this day the visuals on Flash are not good. Like they're okay, but you could clearly tell they're CG. Like, clear as fucking day.
Well, when you have a giant shark, man, yes,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I mean, yeah, but you also have to agree that,
watch Lost in Space.
Big dude, I forget his name.
Watch the oldest brother from Netflix. That robot looks real as fuck to me.
That's fantastic. We're talking about Umbrella Academy. The older brother had a fucking fursuit on. Like, if you want to talk about production quality...
Well, okay, yeah, sure. I think they could have toned down that suit a little bit.
Like, it was ridiculous.
Sure, okay, cool.
So,
but that's fine.
Like, kudos to them for going for like a dude in a suit.
Outside of the suit, what else can you talk about on Umbrella Academy? But every time I watch Flash, Like the fucking him zipping through, that zipping looks like the most CG shit I've ever seen in my life. Anytime I see Shark Man on fucking screen, the biggest CG bitch I've ever seen in my life.
Why are you so mad at fucking...
No, because I want to sit here and I want to hear these motherfuckers talk about how big they are, how like it's irrelevant because we're Hollywood. Yeah,
right,
but
here's the difference.
But you ain't doing it.
But the difference is the Flash doesn't get nominated for Oscars.
I mean, sure.
Like...
But that's what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about both though. I'm not talking about just Oscars. I'm talking about Hollywood talking their shit. Talk Hollywood. You are Hollywood. Talk your shit. But yet I see better production coming out of somebody you don't wanna say it belongs in the Oscars or Hollywood.
Right?
They don't like Netflix. They don't like Netflix's motto. They don't like Netflix's choices.
I mean, they like them now because they all fucking doing that model.
Now, finally, they're like, fuck, well, as much as we don't like them, we might have to do it.
They're all doing that model now.
It took them at least fucking 10 years to realize they should probably
You got that HBO Go. You got that.
Now, you could argue...
Peacock.
Now, some people could argue HBO has some good shows, but to me, that's above and beyond.
It's cable television.
I think the if you want to compare,
because you've never been able to just get HBO in the sense of like it's part of a cable package. You've always had to pay extra.
Right, there's that.
HBO.
I mean, you got to pay extra for Netflix too.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not.
Right. So what I'm saying is, if you want to just count broadcast TV,
right. I want to just count like.
Then you can't compare it to Netflix. Netflix costs money.
But so does cable.
NBC doesn't.
Okay, NBC doesn't.
ABC doesn't. That's where Agents shows. CW doesn't.
Once again, that took multiple seasons to fucking start.
CW doesn't. You said Arrow season 1 was the fucking best season ever.
When it came out, it was, yeah, 100%.
So I think it all depends. If the CW costs $5 a month, maybe they'd be able to put some more money into it.
Yeah.
Maybe you could get a Flash where King Shark looks like a badass.
Maybe.
But here's my question to you: does the not perfect CG? Because I won't say it's bad, but I've seen way fucking worse.
Oh yeah.
Does the not perfect CG take you out of the show? Are you like, that's not a fucking character on the show?
No, because I don't. In the sense of like I've learned to not think about it.
Right.
When it first aired, sure I did. When I first saw Gorilla Grodd, I was like.
Second season, whatever. The first season he was on, it was rough. Yeah. It was rough. I will give him that.
Yeah, it took me out. But then I was just like, fuck it. This is the Flash. This is
right. But he got better. He definitely got better.
Grodd
now feels real. He feels like he has weight. Like, Grodd is good. But more so in that I feel like they've gotten better at presenting it in better scenarios. They put Grodd in the night mostly. I mean, like, they did that with King Shark, but King Shark is like shiny and reflective, and I feel like it's too much. Especially when they were doing it in the daytime and they were just outside in that marine tank or whatever.
Here's the thing. Here's a perfect example. You want to lower your production budget and make this shit look better? Make it 13 episodes. Stop stretching out episodes to give more drama, and you'll be good to go.
100%.
Because you know
what's a perfect. Look at season 6 of fucking Agents.
I was just gonna say, you know what's a perfect example of that?
Have you seen season 6 of Agents?
I have not.
Bro. They're right at the beginning of the season.
It's literally Cowboy Bebop.
They took one of the ships. Yeah, they're out in space, and I'm just like, they go to the wide shot where they're like landing, and I'm like, holy shit, it looks good.
You get good writers that can write drama and action in one episode out of 13 episodes. Each episode has both combined, and it's great when you're watching it. It's entertaining. Guess what? Now you don't have to worry about paying for 13 episodes to be produced. Or 26 or 24 or 23. Now you have only anywhere between 10 to 13. You're saving a shit ton of money. Now it can look amazing.
To give you an idea,
and you got better writers.
At the beginning of the season, mind you, 13 episodes. At the beginning of the season, Quake, Fitzsimmons are out in space, right? They make it back in time to do all the things. And it didn't feel like it was like just dragging out this journey home.
No, it was just
like boom, 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 boom. It was so good, so good
action. Yet there's drama and like.
And by the way,
it was just perfect.
On the flip side of our topic today, best ending to a season in a while of a lot of things. Like, better than any CW show ending, season finale. Better than any previous season finale of fucking Agents, for sure. I honestly also think that it's a better season finale than the Umbrella Academy season finale. It was such a good ending. I'm so excited for the next season.
I don't agree with that.
Like, I'm excited for season 2 of Umbrella Academy. I am way more excited for the next season of Agents. Way more excited.
I don't know.
I mean, you don't have to agree with that. I'm just saying that's just my opinion.
I'm like 5 seasons behind on
Holy
Agents
shit!
of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like,
so you've only seen the bad season.
The first 3 are not great.
Let me rephrase that. It's not a bad season. It's a boring season. Yeah. It's mostly this. It's mostly an FBI show.
Yeah, it's an FBI show.
It's an FBI show with fancy guns.
If I want to watch an FBI show, I just watch an FBI show.
Like, it's mostly an FBI show with fancy guns.
The last thing I remember was Bill Paxton.
Yeah, it's literally the end of season 1. It's the Hydra thing.
Oh, really? Okay, so yeah, I'm like 5 seasons behind.
I'm pretty sure that was season 1.
The Umbrella Academy, like.
No, I would definitely put Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Along with Into the Badlands, along with The Boys, along with Umbrella Academy as one of the
Boys was
one of the
really
better 2019 series, one of the better endings for the series. Like, I put all of those up there together. I don't think one's better than the other, in my opinion.
Yeah, so. He only went through the last season, the last episode of the first season.
So so to me, I wouldn't say it's the best, but I wouldn't say it's.
Garrett.
I would say it's on par with any of those. Like, I'm excited to watch all the next season for all of those shows, like, equally. As soon as they air, I'm gonna be on that. Like Stranger Things. Great.
Like Lucifer, I'm not that excited. Yeah, but I feel like this could have been a good ending.
Yeah, but you gotta understand. Like, I like Lucifer, but it's just, to me, it's just a show where he's funny. I'm not seeing a lot of the things I would want out of Lucifer himself. Like, I see a lot of, what is the thing you desire most? Like, I don't care, Lucifer. What I want you to...
Did you finish the season?
Yeah, I did. I finished it.
There's a lot of Lucifer.
No, there's a few scenes of something Lucifer. Like, it's not that many... It's not the whole series. It's not the...
I mean, it's not the whole series, but, like, the show is about Lucifer being in L.A. It's not about hell, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not about... It's about all this crazy shit happening in the human world.
I just want more Lucifer interacting with demons and angels and killing and...
There's literally a lot of demons and a lot of killing in this one.
All right.
Last couple episodes.
If you say so.
That's kind of true. Because, like, the whole thing is that, like, he's got to be in hell, otherwise, like, the cosmic balance is all fucked up.
That was the whole ending, yeah.
You saw the season, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm like, I'm not 100% excited for the next season, because it's the last season, and I'm kind of like, I mean, this felt like a good ending to the show.
The thing was that it wasn't like
it doesn't matter. They're going to end
really
it anyway.
Satisfying ending. Like,
no, but I felt like that's
and Lucifer aren't together.
No, I know, but I felt like that was the correct way to end it, because like there is no way where we're all satisfied about this at the end, right?
Well,
there is no way.
Also, the lesson to be learned,
right? Where you this is like you have to do this because it is your duty. Not yet. You don't get to fucking have a happy ending because this is your duty and you have to do it.
Well, I'm sure.
That's kind of what
I'm sure they got an idea since they've
said
when they took the series.
I mean, I don't know unless Kelly Clarkson flexes her
no
celebrity muscle and gets another season out of it.
No.
Well, okay. Speaking of shows that ended poorly or just ended, from my childhood, Extreme Ghostbusters.
I fucking loved that show.
I
loved that show so much.
I love that show, especially because... Like,
can we talk... The 90s was the best fucking time for cartoon television ever. Ever. Like, You had good shit. You had great shit like Extreme Ghostbusters. You had like weird shit like Bureau of Alien Detectors. Fucking, you had such good shit from this.
I would say
like Mighty
90s
Max.
going. I would say 90s going into early 2000s.
I'll give you early 2000s.
See, like I'm a child of the 80s, like Thundercats.
But Thundercats,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
But Thundercats and Masters of Evil and I mean it was all just toy commercials.
Well, yeah, that's
they
true.
all started as toys.
That is true.
Like, they were all toy commercials where the flip side was in the 90s, they built shows to sell toys.
Although, to be fair, I have no idea how that show ended.
What?
Extreme Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
Like, it ends, like, they're on a rooftop. They've just, like, taken down a coven of witches that are worshipping Sir Nunos. And then, like, it literally, like, pans up into the sky and, you know, like... They're all still Ghostbusters. Like, none of them have graduated college.
It felt like season 1 finale. You know, like, that's what it felt like.
And, like, there was unresolved stories between, like, the Ghostbusters themselves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we want to talk about that, we got, like, I feel like the Mighty Ducks never ended.
The movies or the shows?
The shows.
Oh, the show, yeah. The show
never ended.
Yeah.
Because they didn't get to go home.
No. Like, there was no ending.
There was no ending. No,
like, I think it left us literally in sequence where they were shooting something out of space or going into space to do something.
They shot something down, and that was it.
And then they just ended and just stopped. Yeah.
I loved that show. That was another.
Well, I mean, there was also like Biker Mice from Mars. I don't think that.
And they relaunched that.
Did they?
Yeah, they relaunched it in 2006 or something.
And then it didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was the same thing with Thundercats that they relaunched.
And then now you got the dumbass Thundercats.
How do you feel like it's for a different audience?
Sure.
How do you feel?
To me, that's a dumbass Thundercat.
Sure. How do you feel about Kevin Smith saying that he's gonna finish the Masters of the Universe story from the 80s? Like, he's gonna do one more season with Netflix, and then he's gonna finish the story that started in the 80s cartoon.
One more season with Netflix. What is he doing on Netflix?
He's going to do a season of Masters of Evil. He-Man.
Well,
that's fine, but what do you mean he's going to do one more with Netflix?
Of that show. He's going to do one more season of that show on Netflix.
And you said then after that...
He's going to finish the original series.
But if he's doing it with Netflix, I'm confused.
Is he going to end it on Netflix, or is he going to...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's going to do one more season of that show.
With Netflix.
Yeah, on Netflix.
The way you said that originally, it sounded like he's already doing something with Netflix.
Oh, no.
And as soon as he's done with that, then he's going to do this shit on his own. That's what it sounds.
If he ends the series, like, I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, like you said, like all of those 80s cartoons, like She-Ra, Freddy.
Yeah, the description of this episode is just one episode. It's just like a normal episode.
Right. Yeah, no, it never ended.
Yeah.
Damn, Mummy's Alive.
Love that show. That's just what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man. Mummy's Alive. That was such a good show. Such a fun show.
Yeah, but terrible name. Terrible name. Mummy's Alive. Come on.
Yeah, but that theme song. God. Also, the 90s were also the best time for cartoon show intros. Absolute best era.
True. Like,
the fucking guitar intro from Mighty Max, one of my favorite things of all time. One of my favorite pieces of music of all time. Mm-hmm. Like, so good. And Mighty Max was also a perfectly built show. There wasn't...
But also...
It was the best ending show. Because it ended at the beginning of the show. It was a full cycle show. You could watch that show to infinity, and it always just loops back to the first episode.
True. But also was also based off a toy line.
It wasn't based off the toy line. They made the toy line off the show.
We're gonna have to look this one up.
We're gonna look it up.
Look it up.
Mighty Max TV series. Damn. Based upon the British Mighty Max toys.
Yeah, just
fuck me up.
How does it feel to be wrong all the
time? Well, this is interesting. It's based upon the British Mighty Max toys, an outgrowth of the Polly Pocket line.
Well, yeah, because Polly Pocket was for girls, Mighty Max was for guys.
That's fucking hilarious. It was Polly Pocket for Boys.
A portable playset.
Yeah, Polly Pocket for Boys. That's fucking hilarious. That's fucking awesome, though.
But I mean, like somebody was like in that boardroom, like, oh yes, we have Polly Pocket for the girls.
2 seasons, 40 episodes,
and then we'll do Mighty Max for the guys and Cartoon Series Go, and like they fucking ran with that cartoon series, and was like, okay, well,
no, 2 years later, yeah,
and
about the time it takes to make a show.
Not to mention that. Like that's an example of good writing. They had a clear beginning and ending.
100%. Yeah, there was no confusion about like, oh, we're going to end in season 2. When they made season 2, they built up to that finale, and they wrote the last episode to literally just cycle you back to the first episode, so that you could air that shit in reruns forever. Like syndicate the plant. Like this show was written for syndication. Like. And it's not something that happens very often. It's not something that happens
either way. An example of a cartoon advertisement done right.
100%. Transformers is another great example of that. Like the way they did it. Transformers bothers me though because that was something that another like not like ended too soon. I would say, Beast Machines ended with this story of, oh, now the nature and the technology are merged, and that's where the show ends. And there was that plan for the next season of what the fuck was it called? I forget the name of it for some reason right now. But it was the next season was going to be based on these like characters who were kind of both, and they were more organic, but also were Transformers. There were like demo toys made. There was designs all over the internet. I tracked down every single one. Every single design I could find. Optimus looked fucking awesome. And they basically like bastardized the design from that to put it in the, was it Robots in Disguise or whatever the fucking shitty cartoon one was that came next. Like super like garbage cartoony one.
It's for a different audience.
That's fair.
That is fair, but
I
do enjoy quality animation.
You want to play devil's advocate?
That's fair. No, I'll give you that. That's fair. No, I didn't like that. But I mean, the same way I don't like the new Spider-Man. The new Spider-Man is fucking garbage.
It is garbage.
Fucking garbage.
But it's for a different audience.
It is, but it's fucking.
But it's still garbage, right? Exactly. So my statement still stands for the previous show that I mentioned.
I'll give you that. Yeah. I give you that. You can have that opinion about that show. It's still for a different audience. I agree. No, the new. I'm excited. Listen, all I want is.
And sorry, homie, you can't tell me I watched Spider-Man. What was that in the '90s? The animated series, and it was better.
100%.
But that was for a different audience. I was not this age then, but guess what? This age would still watch that shit.
It's true.
Yeah.
It was such. I just don't understand. Let me rephrase that. I do understand.
We live in our age, coach.
It's not even that. No. What I'm saying is
still violent. It's still violent. No, you gotta make it kidding.
It's not even about too violent. I mean, like
you want to talk about that.
It's just wait. And we've talked about this before, where it comes to like Japanese anime, the production speed is too high. Just like with everything that lately, everything is being done too fast, so that the requirements are so ridiculous that you can't do good shit anymore.
Right.
Like
you can't
look
as good.
Have I shown you the examples from the Japanese stuff? Like Dragon Ball Z Gods? Super. The fucking thing they showed on TV versus what came out on disc. It's almost like a different company did it. Like the art style is so much better, so much more detailed, so much like finished. It looks finished. Everything that comes out on TV is fucking. It looks like it was drawn by an 8-year-old.
Well, that's there's a reason for that.
It's production speed.
Well, production speed also they do that to sell more DVDs because
But that's stupid. Why?
They know, or they fully like. My friend Steve Leverance knows far more about this, but from what I understand, it is because. People will pirate the production show,
right?
but the DVDs are protected in some way or something like
they
that.
Are.
Yeah,
it's Japan. I'm sure they pirating.
But like they put like everything they've got into the DVDs so that at least somebody's got to buy the DVD before they pirate it.
Right.
I mean, I guess it's still. I think it's. I mean, I see what you're saying. I just still think that it's quite possible that it's very much due to the production speed of shit. We've talked about this. I mean, like with the CW shows, they have 6 to 8 months to produce 23 episodes.
So that's their problem,
right? And they do
need to stop
too
producing
much.
23 episodes,
right? If you put out 13 episodes in the course of,
or let's say you want to really go ham, do 15. That's your worst case scenario.
Right.
If you want to get that extra 2 episodes in, do 15 at the most. You save on fucking production costs in the sense of how many episodes you're releasing.
Save on actor costs.
Save on actor costs, and then you fucking put in a good amount of time making these better.
Like they started filming it
plus episodes.
Like they started filming the current season of CW in April.
Yeah. No wonder fucking.
Like,
no wonder Stephen Amell was like, I'm gonna finish in this season. Because motherfucker has to be there for 26 episodes or whatever.
Yeah, and he'd like to see his fucking child.
Yeah, like he starts in April. Like, no, bitch, how about you just give him fucking to shoot 13 episodes?
Yeah,
you'd be a lot happier to continue.
They filmed the first couple episodes, and then they filmed the next couple episodes. I mean, like they're filming Crisis now. The first episodes of the show come out in like 2 weeks,
right? Or
this week,
something like that.
But like the first episodes of the show. Crisis happens at like episode 10. So like we're 10 weeks away from, but they're filming
100%.
Crisis now. Yeah. Crisis though is huge. Like
I mean, it's huge, but still, once again,
I'm so excited.
If you didn't have to shoot 20 plus episodes, it would be huge, but you wouldn't have to. You wouldn't have to be concerned about if it's going to be good or not.
100%. 100%.
Because you're not shooting another 10 episodes.
Right.
So.
Like, I have a feeling this 8-episode season of Arrow is going to be the best season.
It will be most likely on par with first season.
Like, I'm so excited.
First season was fucking good, man.
First season was good, but we're also reducing the amount of shit. We're reducing the amount of people. Like, not everyone's going to be back for this season. I was actually so confused that like, if we want to talk about like kind of a weird ending, they made this big ass deal at the end of the last season, and they just like quit at the end. They like had this great victory, and they were all like, "Cool, like, you know, there is no vigilante registration law or whatever, or anti-vigilante law," and then like we won, and then they like shut down the lights and they like called it. And I was like, "What the fuck?" Just
it was another. Yeah, that's actually a perfect example of like something that didn't have a great ending because it literally was just like the law's done,
right?
We've won.
And then it was like,
but no more vigilantes.
Yeah, they were like, all right, like we'll always be a team.
At least not for the Arrow team. There's no more Arrow team.
Yeah, they were like
random.
Yeah, they were all like, we'll always be a team, and then they shut down the lights. And granted, I was working while I was watching it, but at the same time, I'm like, I can't have missed that much. Like, I might have missed a couple sentences, but not.
Like, if you were doing your job while you were watching it.
I was like, I can't have missed that much. Like, I might have missed a couple sentences. But, like, they were just having a conversation in the fucking base, and now, all of a sudden, there's no conversation in the base. By the way, they're talking about a spin-off series of Girls with Mia somehow coming back from the future, I guess.
Unless it's in the future?
No, because it's also got...
Nope.
The two canaries.
No.
And who else? Somebody else.
Don't care. Nope.
I don't know. I'm way behind on that one too.
Yeah, Huntress maybe Huntress, like a girl show, and I'm like, okay, cool, but like, why is she coming back from the future? Like, did I swear to God, Barry just never tells anyone that like you shouldn't fuck with the past. Like, he didn't, like, leave instructions like, hey, my daughter probably is going to have powers. Let's go ahead and just let her know, do not fuck with the past. No, apparently didn't do that. Like, I fucked it up 4 times.
No, but that's, once again, going back to writing, that's just bad writing. Like, at some point, it could have been better. Like, this whole series, like, I'm not going to tell my father I'm fucking with Ty. Oh, you're just... So it's another Barry. It just happens to be his daughter. Yeah. But it's just another Barry fuck-up. Because at some point... Oh, and you're telling me the mom... what's her name?
Iris?
You're telling me Iris...
Never brought that shit up.
And you're telling me Iris held back that her daughter was a superpowered person? No, it was bad writing to fucking write off a drama.
But you don't think that she would do that after she loses her husband to his powers, basically?
I think after how much they've been through, I think she would realize how bad it is to try to prevent telling people not the truth. Considering their whole relationship, they're arguing about not telling each other the truth.
I did like that they like doubled down on that persistent. Like, it's weird. They do the multiverse, but they also do a persistent timeline. It's the same fucking thing Marvel does all the time. It's like, they have a persistent timeline, but there is also a multiverse. Which, like, those two theories cannot work at the same time. Because, like, she fixed everything, and then she fucking disappeared. And I was like, okay. You changed the future. That means you never came back. Period.
That's fine.
Like,
but, once again, it still doesn't change bad writing.
Well, now in the new timeline, she never did block her powers. XS is the new up and coming hero in Central City because her father was the Flash, and everyone knows that.
In the comics.
No, I'm telling you, that's the new future. She changed the past. Barry no longer disappears because Crisis. Obviously, Crisis happens sooner, but Barry no longer disappears because she changed the timeline. Iris is not going to block her powers. And because Barry continues to be a hero, eventually people will find out that Barry is the Flash. Or at least, not even necessarily that Barry is the Flash, but just they will know that XS is his daughter. So she's just a new up-and-coming speedster, and everyone knows that she's...
That's great. Why did she disappear?
Because the timeline she's from disappeared. The future she's from never happened.
She disappeared. At no point was the timeline disappearing.
The future that she's from, her future timeline, doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, that's great. But why did she disappear?
Because she doesn't exist anymore.
But why didn't she show up? Even if that timeline of her disappeared, they were still in the future. Why wasn't there an Access Flash at the end of that episode?
What are you talking about? They weren't in the future.
They were. What are you talking about? They were in the future where fucking Yellow Flash was, Reverse Flash. They were in the future when the fucking show ended.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. They were.
Okay, so either way, going back to outrage culture and, it can't be...
Let's do it.
It can't be violent.
It can't be violent!
It's
too violent because it causes violence.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies from the 90s, which was, in the first one, they used their weapons kind of. In the second one, they used their weapons pretty much not at all. And in the third one, they might as well have just not carried weapons.
I love the new ones. The new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I loved them.
Yeah,
they were fun. They were actiony. They were fighting.
They used their weapons.
There was a lot of weapons using in those two. But we're not going to get a third one.
But there was outrage in the 90s about how the parents were worried that the ninjas would actually use their fucking swords.
Right.
And so that's why Leonardo
I know the outrage has been there forever. It's just there's obviously way more of it now, but that's obviously one because we have a way to communicate it,
and mass.
Yeah, exactly, and the mass in general. But it's just it's one of those things where it's. How can I put it?
Nope, you're wrong.
If you're, how can I put it? If your child is unstable or they watch or play something violent and that causes them to want to cause violence, it's not the issue with the thing that they watched or played. It's the issue with your kid's brain.
100% agree.
That's something you should probably look into. Maybe not allow your child to watch this stuff.
Fantasy and reality.
I mean, maybe you should teach your children better.
Conversation.
Maybe you should teach children better, for sure. For sure. You're wrong. You're wrong. They were in the present. Thawne came to the present. They were about to square off with him. Barry destroyed the dagger in the present with the mirror gun, and that caused Future Cicada to disappear in the future, and the new daggerless timeline was going to disappear both Thawne and Nora. Thawne goes into the negative speed force, says, you should come into the negative speed force to fucking save yourself.
No, you're wrong. They confront Thawne at the fucking prison. They watch the dagger disappear. They're in the future. Just because you've read that they confront him doesn't mean he came to the present. No, they were in the future in his prison. They were going to watch him literally get fried. And they were like, oh shit, don't destroy it because it's on him. It's what is keeping him there. She disappears in her future.
Regardless, then they just go back to the past.
But why didn't they realize that she only disappeared because it was that aspect of her? But she didn't disappear. She's still alive.
She's out doing her thing with her dad.
But that's not how they played it off at the end of the series. At the end of the series, Barry is very mad that his daughter no longer exists.
The one he knows.
No.
He's about to have one. So he's about to learn the new one.
Doesn't matter. He's very mad that his daughter doesn't exist.
I think you're... No.
There's no. I'll go on Netflix and I can play you the last 2 minutes of it. He's very mad that his daughter doesn't exist.
We're going to play it right now.
We can play it right now. I'm telling you right now.
They find a message. They find a farewell message from her. Like...
They don't find a farewell message from her.
They do.
No. They're actually, ironically enough, your story still doesn't hold up because they are 100% reading a book she left, which technically should disappear. Are you going to tell me how that's not accurate either? If she disappeared from that timeline, her book somehow didn't? That she wrote everything from that timeline?
She wrote that stuff in the present.
From that timeline.
No, she recorded it in the computer. Full. They're not reading shit.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. He's sad.
But they are... Okay, whatever. Wouldn't that not exist either?
It was recorded in the present.
But from her, from a specific timeline.
But it's in the present.
But it's from her that all
She existed in this timeline. She doesn't disappear from this timeline.
She completely disappeared.
She disappeared going forward. I don't know what you're not getting here. So the things that happened in the present all happened. It's not like they forget she ever existed.
Okay, so then why did her time... If she was changing all this and she still exists in the present, then her timeline would have been different.
Her timeline existed until she changed it.
But she was already changing it.
But she still existed. Throughout all that, he was still going to disappear.
Do you understand how then your complete argument doesn't make sense ever?
Sure it does.
No, it doesn't.
Her timeline exists until the dagger is destroyed.
You're correct.
So the dagger was still there.
This one that's on this video is not a different her. It is still her.
Right.
Right.
Which she existed until they destroyed the dagger.
But it's still her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Still confused. I don't know what you're arguing.
Well,
we agree that she existed in the present.
But she should still then exist.
No. She's still from the future. So once her timeline disappears, she then disappears.
But that is the same person we are seeing on this video.
Sure.
So, does she disappear?
She already did all the things in the present.
But if she is gone...
Did she disappear because she caught
technically would have never went in the present.
Okay. Now you're talking about paradoxes.
Oh, I'm talking about something that would make sense. Is what you're saying?
No, you wouldn't, because it's the killing your own grandpa or paradox. It's the suicide paradox. If you go back in time and kill your grandfather, right? It means your grandfather never had your parents, whichever one, and then you were never born, which means you never went back to kill your grandfather, which means he was there. And exactly, it's a paradox. It's an infinite loop. That's why the persistent timeline doesn't make sense. The persistent timeline is what disproves time travel, right? That means you can never go back in time, because if you change anything, you change the present, which means you never went back in time to begin with. Right. So that's why the persistent timeline is the theory that like prevents time travel from happening. But the persistent timeline, there's a loophole around it in fiction writing. The loophole is if you have something that keeps you outside of time-space, i.e. Time Cop, he went back in time, but you could never touch yourself, right? You could never touch the
Right.
So he went back in time, but when you go back to the future, the timeline changed. Mm-hmm. And when you take off the wrist, whatever the fuck it was, the bracelet, like you rejoin the timeline. So you changed the past, and then once you rejoin the timeline, you're part of that, and you never went back. The timeline is just different. That was their loophole. Just like in
So why is Barry mad? Why is he mad or sad?
Again, the loophole they're using here is probably the Speed Force. They're just saying that the timeline was changed. Their memories of what happened exist, but she physically does not exist anymore.
But she does.
She still did all the things.
Right, but she does exist.
No. A new version of her does.
But she still exists.
A new version of her.
But she still exists.
With no memories of any of this happening.
But she still exists.
Oh my God. She doesn't.
But she does.
No, that timeline's gone.
But she exists.
She doesn't. Just like the Flashpoint timeline's gone.
What are you talking about? You just told me she exists. She's going to be a hero.
They're going because fucking what's her face is pregnant.
Yeah.
So she's gonna have a kid.
Yeah.
She's gonna have powers. She's
So
gonna
she
be a hero.
exists. What's the problem?
But it's not the same person.
I mean, it's going to be overall the same person.
It's not. She's gonna have different experiences. Her powers. Her powers will never have been blocked. She'll never have lost her father. Like her whole life is going to be different.
That's great, but she.
So that's why she didn't just show up there.
But she still exists.
A new version of her.
But she still exists. Like she's going to look the same.
Theoretically.
I swear to God, if she doesn't, I'm going to murder the entire universe.
If they can get the same
I'm going to go up to Flash. I'm going to jump into the show.
But you don't. Hey, you don't know. You listen. You don't know. You don't know. Her presence in the past.
Listen. Barry, check it out, bro. Check it out, bro. Barry, listen. Your shit don't make sense. I'm going to have to wipe out your entire universe.
Listen.
And all the loophole universes you've.
What I'm saying is her presence in the past. Maybe because of her presence in the past, maybe Barry did like a sideways maneuver versus a top maneuver.
Maybe
it comes out different.
Maybe I stabbed a few eyeballs.
Maybe it comes out. Maybe it comes out a boy. Maybe it comes out a boy.
Sounds like bad writing. Look at that.
Sounds like you're mad about time travel.
No, no, not at all. Not mad about time travel. It just sounds like bad writing. I'm mad about bad writing. Bad writing is a bad writing.
Anyway, potentially she will look the same. Most likely she will look the same. So but she will be a different person. If you went back in time and your father was just never there, you would be a different person now.
You say that, but we don't know that for sure.
100%. If your father was just never there, or if your father was a good father, you'd be a completely different person.
Maybe. But do we know that for sure?
100%.
How do you know that? Have you tested this theory?
Because if I went back and punched you in your face when you were 5 and you didn't know who I was and I just punched you in your face, you would grow up differently. Nothing happened to you, just you got punched in the face when you were 5. Maybe you grow up angrier.
But have you tested this?
We must build a time machine.
It's like his theory. Listen, what I'm trying to prove is the same theory he was trying to throw in the beginning of this podcast. He was saying that he believes that if a person grew up in space,
yes,
yeah. So, but we'll never know because nobody will allow you to test it, and we'll never know if what you're saying right now is true.
More than likely, time travel will not be discovered during my lifetime. So yes, most likely we will never be able to test this. Will it eventually be tested? Potentially. I believe in the many worlds theory, so my belief is that if you go back and change anything, it just creates a different timeline. So it's not like the timeline you're from doesn't disappear. It's just a new timeline.
But what if it doesn't? What if like you do just change something in the current timeline? What if that's the theory?
Well then, if it is a persistent timeline,
right?
The other variation of that is when you go back and you change it,
right.
There's nothing for you to go back to.
Right.
Where you're from doesn't exist, so you just have to stay there. So it's a one-way trip. So you go back and you kill Hitler. You get to grow up you get to live the rest of your life in a world where there was no Holocaust.
But in the past.
Yeah, you get to live in 1930, whatever.
I couldn't come back to the future?
Nope.
Is what you're saying?
That's the other variant of because you destroyed that timeline, you now are in 1930. You don't belong anywhere else.
But what if you could?
I mean, but that's also where the paradox comes into
play. A good movie that just came out on Netflix that addresses this same situation is called In the Shadow of the Moon, or In the Moon Shadow, something like that.
Right.
Is also
I didn't see. Is it a Netflix special?
It's on Netflix right now. I watched it last night.
Another good movie that plays
In the Shadow of the Moon.
Yes.
Yeah, it is a Netflix film.
Oh, I'll have to watch
it. Says drama, mind bending. There's a mind bending.
Another good movie that has to do with time, but also aliens is Superman's Lois Lane, Amy Adams. Is that who plays her?
Oh yes, Arrival.
Huh?
Arrival. Incredible film. Incredible.
Have not seen it.
Oh my god.
Incredible.
Oh my god. By the way, best fucking ending. Best fucking ending.
Like, but would that then fall under?
It would theoretically.
Persistent timeline.
So here's the thing, because there was no time travel on her part, it's just like a psychic thing, right? I mean,
I know what you're saying. But
I don't want to ruin this for you.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
Like I was like gonna say something, but I was like, I can't say that.
Shut your mouth.
Anyway, we're gonna talk about something else then.
No, you have to watch that. You have to watch that before we can talk about it.
Yeah, there's that, and I hope Inside Man Most Wanted is a sequel to Inside Man with Denzel Washington. I'm gonna have to look at it.
It is, but it is like in the worst way possible.
Of course, dude. It's like every sequel. They made an 8mm sequel. 8mm is the worst movie you could ever watch for any reason, but it's fucking great.
Denzel finally did do a sequel.
Equilibrium. Not Equilibrium. What the fuck am I talking about? Equalizer.
I was like, I don't know, because that's
Equilibrium is a great movie.
I was like, because that's not a Denzel.
Equilibrium is a great movie. Equilibrium is...
All right. I think we're going to call it there. We're going on 2 hours.
Too many tangents.
Too many
tangents.
Yeah, the most tangiest tangent.
High tension. Watch it if you can.
If you can make it through.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I know I gave you the ending, but
maybe you can figure it out.
Maybe you
drop a link in the comments and figure out what the fuck happened to that movie.
I'm not saying you can't accept it. I'm just saying it's a bad writing.
Maybe he missed something.
Leave us some suggestions if you'd like.
Let us know what you've watched. Let us know what you
watched.
What's
a bad ending that you didn't
like? Was a bad ending. Like legitimately was like. That just didn't make sense.
Yeah, if it didn't make sense, if you hated it and why, and we could just go into that for you, and you could join us through caffeine.tv/T3G Media. Oh my god, that fucking segue.
Oh my god.
Segue. We do this live every week for the most part, and we'd love to have a conversation. Nobody joined us today, but that's cool. We still have a good time, and of course, make sure you check us out on YouTube, caffeine.tv/T3G Media, all the podcast platforms. If you have any questions, hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, etc., etc. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you in the next one.
Like, comment, subscribe.
This fucking guy. I love him.
And he's not even on the channel.